Okay, new blog. Today is 8/11/17. So I recalculated my global warming thing. Okay, I guess on the hay there's a set, 2 semi-trailers full of hay, and that takes 8 pinches, no squeezes. And a squeeze is one of these big hay trucks that picks up a whole mess of hay and loads the truck. So a squeeze is 64 bales of hay, which is 12 on the bottom and then rows of 8 until you get to 64. So it would be 64 times 8 hay bales, which works out to about 25,000, or 25 tons, not 40 tons like Cousin Phil said. So if you get 25 tons of hay per hay truck, that means that it takes 7.2 hay trucks to zero out my entire gasoline carbon footprint. So, and I base that on this, okay, a 55-gallon drum of oil weighs 415 pounds on average, depending on the type of oil, whether it's thick or thin or whatever. And it said that 85% of oil is carbon, so the rest is hydrogen and who knows what else. Okay, hay probably is mostly carbon, but it probably has hydrogen and it probably has water with it and it probably has impurities. So I don't know what the percentage of hay by weight is carbon, but probably a high percentage. So I'm going to say equal to gasoline until I hear otherwise. So get out the scientists, do the math. I don't know what the math is. I don't have any data. I kind of tried to Google it, can't find it. So if a ton of carbon, let's say a ton of gasoline is burned by weight, which would be, I just took 400 pounds per barrel because there's probably airspace in the top of the barrel. You probably don't get a whole 55 gallons. So I'm thinking 400 pounds for a barrel of oil versus 400 pounds of hay. If they're relatively equal in carbon, then if you burned 25 tons of carbon into the atmosphere and you took 25 tons of hay and buried it underground where you got the gasoline or the coal, then the net carbon into the atmosphere would be 0 because you pulled the carbon out of the ground, out of fossil fuels, and made gasoline. And if you pulled out 1 ton and burned that in your car and it went up in the atmosphere, and then the hay grew and pulled the carbon into the hay, and you harvested the hay and you put that back underground, you're zeroing out 1 ton out, 1 ton in, so 0. Okay, so I figure that I burn a tank of gas a week from my 16th birthday when I got my driver's license until 85, which is probably how long I'm going to live. So that's 69 years times 52 weeks, you get 3,588 weeks. So that's 3,588 tanks of gas. So that's 12.5 gallons for my Jetta. So 12.5 times 4 is 50 gallons. So that's a 50-gallon drum of oil. So it's about 900 barrels of oil that I'm going to burn over the course of my life driving around in my car. So to zero that out, I need 7.2 sets worth of hay, and each set costs $5,000. So I'm looking at the Tesla Model 3, and they want $35,000 for one. Okay. So $35,000 for a Tesla Model 3, but it still needs the fuel to drive it. Okay. And so you're going to have to generate the fuel from hydrothermal, hydroelectric, hydro something, fossil fuels, burning natural gas at the power plant, whatever they're using, because some places are geothermal and some places are solar and some places are natural gas. So you go 7.2 semi-trucks, semi-sets, times 25 tons equals 180 tons times 2,000 pounds is 360,000 pounds of hay, and then you divide that by 400 pounds per barrel, makes 900 barrels. So 900 barrels of oil times 4 is 3,600, which is just a little bit above my 3588 weeks. So you go 85 years minus 16 years old is 69 years. So between the time I get my driver's license on my 16th birthday until I turn 85, that's 69 years. Times 52 weeks each is 3,588 weeks. So that's a tank of gas times 3,588. And then you divide it by 4 weeks in a month. That's not right. 3,588 weeks. And then you go times 12.5 gallons to fill up my Jetta is 44,850 gallons. So that's how many gallons I'm probably going to burn my lifetime. So each hay truck costs $5,000 retail to have them come with a set of hay. And so you go seven hay trucks, 7.2 hay trucks times $5,000. So you go 7.2 hay trucks times $5,000 each is $36,000. And that zeroes out my carbon versus Elon Musk's Type 3 Tesla, which costs $35,000, which doesn't zero out the carbon because they could be generating the carbon at a fossil fuel electric generating plant. So mine pulls carbon out of the air, and Elon's only eliminates any future burning in that particular vehicle. And so all these yuppies that are buying these Elon Musk electric vehicles, that's nice. It's better than driving a fossil fuel car. But if you bought 7.2 hay trucks worth of hay and you buried it underground, that would be the same price, and you could drive your old Jetta back and forth and be more green than having a Tesla. And there's people that drive the $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 Teslas, so that would be 2 people's worth of carbon if you buried it, instead of buying the Tesla that's not carbon zero. It's carbon low, but it's not carbon zero because somewhere they're generating electricity burning natural gas and coal and other fossil fuels, and probably garbage. I think they burn garbage and make electricity. Okay, so I think mine works better than Elon Musk's. I like Elon Musk's car, he can buy me one, but other than that, I think this is a better idea.